do it live.
This is Jenny Bell from Clarington, Ohio, and I'm listening to Barbecue Central.
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is a show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here. It's fun and frivolity and cooking steak at its finest. Will somebody get Kinger a steak, please? Kinger wants a steak. Kinger coming right up, medium rare, I would assume. If you want to jump in on the show this evening, here's your contact info.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, it's the third Tuesday of the month. First quarter rapidly coming to a close. Hell, 2019 rapidly coming to a close, as you love when I say that. And the third Tuesday of the month recurring guest who has probably been approaching 10 years or so. Maybe it hasn't been that long, but it's been a long time. He is a Barbecue Hall of Famer, multiple-time cookbook author, TV show host, TV class cooking instructor, and as I had mentioned, you see him here on this show once a month. I am, of course, talking about Stephen Raichlen. We have a number of things to talk to with Stephen about, not the least of which today marks the first day of shooting Project Fire, the second season. They're in Florida somewhere, so we'll find out what the first day of shooting was like, kind of get a live, local, late-breaking synopsis of what day one was like. If it's like anything else, like sports and so many other, first day at the job, first day sets the tone for the rest of the shoot. So we'll have to see if there is a complete regroup needed maybe, or if the first time out was good and now the tone is set and we're ready to rock and roll. Number of other things to talk to Stephen about. Maybe we'll get a little off topic with a question. We'll also talk a little bit about lamb, which is my new obsession. So Stephen Raichlen in about 11 minutes. And then we will move to the new third Tuesday of the month guest. That is Robyn Lindars from grillgirl.com. That's GRILL and grillgirl.com. She has a new book coming out. We're getting into April. We're getting into May. Of course, that is live fire book season. traditionally cookbooks. Of course, sometimes they're not necessarily cookbooks, but they're related or they have something to do with live fire in some form or fashion. And this is the season of books, cookbooks and otherwise, as they relate to the industry. And Robyn Lindars has a new one coming out. It's a little healthy. It's a little electric, I think. So stay tuned for 35 past the hour. If I'm not mistaken, Robyn has also signed up for another SCA event. That is the State Cook-Off Association. So we'll get the confirmation on that. Maybe I will tell her that I am almost confirmed for the June 15th SCA event that'll be taking place here in Hartville, Ohio, which is 35 or 40 minutes south and then east of me a little bit. So if you're going to be in the neck of the woods and you want to throw down against me and come in second place, I'm more than happy to shellac you in front of everybody and then talk shit about you the following Tuesday. Everybody that finishes beneath me, you're in for it. I just want to put it out there right now so everybody knows if you want to step that game up and come at me, or if you want to reserve yourself a little bit and do the next SCA event that I'm not going to be competing in. But let's just say my reputation precedes me when it comes to steak cooking. And there's going to be a lot of me finishing in first place and a lot of everybody else finishing behind me. Remember, second place is first loser. We'll move to the second hour after Robyn and catch up with a barbecue documentary effort that I've been doing. We met with him last quarter for the first time, introduced you to Deon Bloomenrader. He is the creator of One Sauce. We learned a lot about his background, how One Sauce came to be. So we'll get a little bit of a recap on that just right on the front side in case you didn't get the podcast when he was on the first time. But then we'll move into things that have transpired over the last quarter. And again, this is going to be a quarterly visit. I am already one better than the mission of following 3 different barbecue teams a couple of years ago, which blew up in my face. Great groundwork, terrible execution, really bad by the end of the year. So, Deon, I am at least 2 for 2, which I was 1 for 51 or whatever it was with the barbecue guys. So, geez, oh, Pete. I apologize for that still. It's one of the banes of my existence of this show. So quarterly visit and update with Deon Bloomenrader, creator of One Sauce, and we'll see what he's up to. And then to finish out the show, we're going off the board altogether. Nothing live fire, barbecue, or grilling related. Justin Adair, one of the partners of Early Bird CBD. If you're down with CBD oil, then you're going to want to stay tuned for this segment coming up at the end of the show. If you are not down with it or you don't have any idea what it is, you're definitely going to want to stay tuned. I am a current user of CBD oil, and we'll talk about that in a little more depth in about an hour and 30 minutes from now. But Justin will help me close the show in that regard. Happy to have you as well. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Don't forget to follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, also on Twitter, /BBQ Central Show on the Facebooks, which is where some of you are watching this feed. If you want to take part in the interactive chat, hit my main website and then click on the YouTube Live link, and you can chat it up with such notable barbecue and grilling aficionados as Cookout Coach. Do I see Deon Bloomenrader in here? Also, Kinger, the Backyard Barbecue Show. The pinnacle of live fire in Boise, Idaho, John Dawson. I think I see the indomitable Steve Brandano. We're all going to be collecting at Lauder for a little later. Never mind. If I could remind you, this is very important. Please do this for me. This is about John Marcus, my friend and barbecue colleague. I want to make it my personal mission, thusly a Centralite personal mission for getting him into the Barbecue Hall of Fame this year. Go to the Barbecue Hall of Fame website. Everything has been corrected now ever since I railed on them a couple weeks ago about how everything was still out of date and you had to do digging. But everything is up to date. These nominations have to be submitted by April 14th, so don't wait. Do it tonight while you're listening to the show. Nominate John Marcus. Tell them, finish the questionnaire. Tell him why he's good, all the different things he's involved in, all that stuff. I would appreciate that. That's the mission of the show this year, not me. Don't get me into the Hall of Fame. Let's get John Marcus into the Hall of Fame. Then we can refocus the attention on me later years. Lastly, if you missed the show from a week ago, I was doing a pair of segments with Jack Arnold, backyard barbecue extraordinaire, social media maven. And in the top of the second segment, he dropped tire carrier of the number 3 car for Richard Childress Racing, Paul Swan, on the line. And we chopped it up for a few, talked a little tire carrier job, how he got into that line of work, and looked ahead to their upcoming race in Fontana, California this past weekend. By the way, top 10 finish, if you were wondering. So Show Karma continues to reign supreme and reaches through sporting events into NASCAR. But really cool guy, really great energy, and obviously very forgiving, because he never once corrected me, even though, except for the very first name mentioned at the top of the interview, never mentioned through the rest of the duration of the segment that I kept calling him Phil. Not Paul, Phil. And he rolled with it. Didn't want to break rhythm, thought everything else was great. I apologize profusely because I would never intentionally offend a man of his size, no doubt about it. This guy is as good as they come, because I would have said something after the second incorrect mention if I'm doing an interview. You know what I'm saying? You call me Craig or Ray or whatever, I'm going to say, hey, or Gary. I say, you know what? It's Greg. Everything's fine. It's just Greg. You look like a dope. I kept calling him Phil. It was Paul. Paul Swan. Paul, humble apologies once again, but he is a better human than me. Stephen Raichlen coming up out of the break. Let me talk to you quickly about the Barbecue Guru. You know, Bob Trudnak and the gang over there have always believed that outdoor cooking should be easy and fun, because it can be, especially with the Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition grill. The Monolith, the world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. This means smarter control and greater freedom with automatic temperature controllers. Easily choose the cooking time and temperature, and let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or barbecue pitmaster with minimal effort. You now have oven-like precision at the grill. You can serve the tastiest, juicy meals each and every time. Consistency, consistency, consistency. That's what we're always talking about here on the show. Once again, since the power draft fan is built in to the Monolith, if you don't have a Barbecue Guru controller, you have to go to bbqguru.com and get a controller. If you already have one, all you have to do is wire it into the fan, and you're off and running. If you want to upgrade that tech, certainly up to you. If you have any questions, you call them. 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. Or again, visit the website, bbqguru.com. Barbecue Bob teaming up with Mo Cason, doing great bits. Doing that Mid-Atlantic barbecue event. I think it was something like that a couple weeks ago. They're always out and about. Great folks over at the Barbecue Guru. bbqguru.com, 800-288-GURU. And we are back with Stephen Raichlen right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauce, grilling oils. Not CBD oils, grilling oils, although there might be a market. All of Butcher Barbecue products have been tested on the competition circuit as well as in the backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood. Visit butcherbbq.com to stock up right now. Always, always trust your butcher. All right, my first guest can be seen right here on this show, the third Tuesday of each month. The 2015 Barbecue Hall of Fame inductee, TV show host, barbecue cooking class instructor, multiple-time author. Let's go ahead and race to the hotline as we welcome back friend of the show, Stephen Raichlen. Hey, Stephen, how are you? How are you, Stephen?
I'm great.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I am doing great. How about you?
Oh, okay, good. I think we're all right.
Well, Hold on. Try something here.
All right. Little bit. Oh. Whoa.
I am here. How's that? Working better?
Yeah. I like it. Sounds great. Perfect. All right, so Stephen Raichlen is joining us. Stephen, we're going to get to why maybe the connections aren't so good here in just a second. But do you mind if we go off the board with the first question?
Absolutely.
Right,
Let's
so,
go.
Assuming I don't want to assume, but I'm assuming you might be up to speed on it. I would love your take on the college admissions scandal that we have been hearing about over the last, let's say, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks at this point. Do you have any thoughts on what's going on?
Well, I am appalled by it, but I am not surprised by it. As we all know, in every aspect of American life and politics, money speaks, and the more money you have, the less you have to follow the rules and do things the right way.
Are you surprised at all that the people, I mean, obviously the means are there, of course, but are you surprised that they are spending, in some cases, more than the tuition would be for the full 4 years? It's almost like, let's call it a country club where you pay in order for the privilege to keep paying for everything once you get into the club.
I am not surprised at all. A first-rate education can mean the difference between enormous success and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And, you know, if you have the means for your kids, you want the best for your kids.
All right, Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show, barbecuebible.com.
They just say sometimes doing the right thing is also the best thing to teach your kids, but that seems to get lost in the equation.
Absolutely. Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show, barbecuebible.com, his website. So let's talk about why you are not in the normal background as we would see you typically on the third Tuesday of each month, which is in the Miami household. Or I'm sorry, it's up in the Martha's Vineyard household. Today is a pinnacle day or a potentially triumphant day for you. Project Smoke, the second season.
Project Fire, the second season. Oh,
yes, I'm sorry. Project Fire, the second season, is the first day of filming is now in the book. So that's going to be really fun to talk about. So let's talk about, again, Project Fire, second season, what you're bringing to the table, and then more specifically, let's dive into the guts of how the first day went, and it has a tone been set for rest of shooting.
Well, absolutely. So I am speaking to you in Steinhatchee, Florida, on the Steinhatchee River. This is due west of Gainesville, Florida. It's a town of about 1,500 people.
Wow.
We are right on the river. I've always wanted to shoot a show on the water. Absolutely gorgeous. Fishing boats going by, pelicans swooping down low. This is an absolute fisherman's and nature lover's paradise. Downside is the internet is not quite as powerful as what we have in Miami, but it was just a spectacular day, spectacular set, and I couldn't be happier.
All right, so what happened today, if you can kind of pull back that curtain and let us know what happened?
Well, basically, what happened today really started yesterday, and that is that our crew converged from all four countries, all four corners of the country. And let's see, our production company is from Baltimore, Maryland. Our Producer is from Pennsylvania. Our lighting and sound crew are from Arizona. I drove in from Miami. Our stylist, food stylist, is from New York. Our chef de cuisine is Chris Lynch from Colorado Springs. We all converged. I'd say about 2/3 of the crew has worked together. 1/3 of the crew is brand new. And this group of people that hasn't seen each other for a year, in some places never, by this morning was a finely tuned team. What was a empty grassy lot is now a small city, complete with a field kitchen, complete with a photo studio for doing the beauty shots, a set, camera gear. It's a sight to behold. And that it all came together in 24 hours never fails to amaze me.
So are you since you are the host and traditionally the face of whatever program that you are shooting, ultimately that makes it there, are you really invested in setting the tone and showing that leadership and getting things going on the right foot for that first day?
Well, I'd say everybody pitches in. It is definitely a team effort. You know, I'm the guy in front of the camera, but there are 23 people working really hard to make it happen. In terms of the tone, though, I just want you to know that this is the most gentle, respectful, polite TV I've ever done. Everything is please and thank you. There's never a harsh word or a raised word on the set. It's an incredible vibe. You know, the rest of my year and our lives should only be so harmonious.
Were there other TV stops along the way where it had been contentious, or wasn't, I guess, what you're terming respectful to a certain degree?
Well, let's just say that I started with the worst and it's gotten better every year.
Really?
Yeah. You know, and it's so funny because I'd never done television before. So I thought, well, okay, this is what television's like. It's a tense set. Everybody yells at one another. You know, it's an awful experience. But then I switched producers and I'm now with Matt Cohn. We're on our way to doing our 9th show together. And Matt really sets the tone as much as anybody. And it's very much a collaborative effort. You know, everybody comes up with good ideas. And I think the goal of everybody is to make the best possible television that we can.
So the goal is to make the best possible television, but do you feel any kind of pressure, whether it be perceived or something maybe you're putting on yourself in order to produce a great show time in and time out?
Well, listen, you know, taping a 12-week TV show in 12 days it's by its very nature, it's pressure. You know, we got started 7:30 this morning. We finished at 7:30 tonight. That was an easy day. We did get one show in the can today. It's a show called Tex Meets Mex. It's kind of a fun show. I looked at some traditional Mexican grilling dishes as they would be refracted sort of through a Texas barbecue sensibility. For example, the last dish we did today, it's called cochinita pibil, and it's a Yucatan spice slathered, banana leaf wrapped pork shoulder that's traditionally cooked in a pit underground. We cooked it on a smoker, so adding that kind of Texas element. That was really fun. We did dessert quesadillas, which got devoured so quickly. It's amazing the food stylist had any to do the beauty shot with. But imagine 2 flour tortillas slathered with dulce de leche, that delicious milk caramel cream, bananas, freshly grated cinnamon, and crumbled salty queso fresco, and then grilled until the tortillas are crisp. A more delicious dessert you can't imagine.
When you talk about the food stylist, are they taking whatever you're finished with and then making the sexy photo picture, or is there a second round that they're using from start to finish in order to really get a nice glamour shot?
Well, to give you an example, I mean, so the pork shoulders, we smoked 5 of them today. I did one on set, but obviously, you know, with a 5-hour preparation, we've got to have swap outs halfway through, all the way through. So that pork shoulder, you know, I did my version on the set, and then our stylist took another pork shoulder and created another beauty shot that came afterwards. It's you know, it takes somewhere between 3 and 4 hours to tape one segment, and it takes a couple hours to do the beauty shot. So they naturally have to come at the end of the day.
So are shows typically, what, 4 segments or 5 segments?
We're doing 3 episodes, sometimes 4 episodes.
Mhm.
It's it's a huge amount of work, and it's a machine with so many moving parts. I mean, the lighting has to be just right. It changes every time the sun goes behind a cloud. The sound. Now, in past years, we've been near airports, so we've had to dodge airplanes and jets. Here, it's pretty quiet. But every once in a while, a boat will come cruising by, or motorcycle will come cruising by, and we have to wait for the sound to settle down. Um, for the grills, it's we've got many grills we've worked with before. We have some new partners this year. But by the way, just to give a call out, one of my students at Barbecue University at the Broadmoor last year went so above and beyond the effort. We called him and asked him if he wanted to be a fire wrangler this year.
Oh.
So Steve Nestor has been putting our grills together, getting them fired up. He actually got me using a Green Mountain pellet grill and controlling it from my smartphone. So that was a great leap into the 21st century for me.
Are you a fan of that kind of technology, or would you rather see it a little more where the person is in control of the fire? Obviously, fire control and pellet cookers are kind of mutually exclusive, but do you like that kind of technology?
Well, I really got a kick out of controlling it. I am a sort of a build a fire and poke around the ashes kind of guy, and very much I do everything by touch and feel and sight. But, I'm also trying to learn where technology is going, and I thought it was pretty cool that I could control it from my phone.
What's on the agenda for tomorrow?
So tomorrow we are doing a show that's it's an East meets West show. The title of it is called Chino Latino. Now, this is a style of grilling and cooking that developed in Cuba in the mid-19th century when the first Chinese workers came from Canton to work the plantations and help on the railroads. And we've taken that idea today and sort of combining Asian grilling elements and Latino grilling elements. So we'll be doing ribs with guava barbecue sauce tomorrow. We'll be doing a tangerine chicken teriyaki. The whole idea is just sort of blending East and West.
Are these recipes that you have tried to make sure that everything's going to be good, or have you ever just done something off the cuff in front of the camera just to see how it would work out, or is that too risky?
Yeah, we don't really take those kinds of risks on the show very often. No, many of these recipes are from past books, or more importantly, from new books coming out, books that I'm working on. I think 2 years ago, when we were out at the Alisal with the last season of Project Smoke, we had a local fisherman, who brought some stuff on the set, and I did not know what they were bringing until they actually showed up on the set. So there we were inventing recipes on the spot. You may remember we did a sea urchin dish, and we cracked an egg inside of it, called it eggs on eggs, and grilled it. That was pretty cool. But in general, no, I really like to know what we're doing before we do it.
Stephen Raichlen joining me here on the show, barbecuebible.com, his website, and he is down in Florida for a 12-day run getting Project Fire, the second season, shot and in the can. Stephen, April 30th, or a little over a month from now, your latest book effort, The Brisket Chronicles, will finally be released, available for pre-order right now through major book retailers and so forth. Has there been any luck in getting the book tour swung through the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city? Any update there?
Oh, boy. I am sorry to say, man, that Cleveburg is not on the agenda for the moment.
Oh, no!
But I keep pushing. But it may not happen. I just got to warn you. However, if you live in Denver, if you live in Austin, if you're in New York City, we're going to launch the book on the Today Show. We'll be down in Miami. We'll be out in California. So there are other places where you can come out and partake of the brisket.
All right, so we will continue to hold out hope here at the North Coast, but we'll see how it goes. Let me ask you, Stephen, to potentially be self-indulgent just for a second. Through the TV shows, barbecue universities, other classes that you put on, you're in the Barbecue Hall of Fame, obviously. You have the merchandise, the products, of course, and then the books that everybody knows you. And kind of, it's almost Stephen Raichlen and grilling and barbecue books are synonymous with each other. Would you ever say that you have had the greatest singular impact of anyone in the live fire industry as a whole?
I would not say that myself because that would be tooting my own horn. I don't like to do that. But if anybody feels that way, I am deeply appreciative.
One of my newest passions, literally 2 weeks old, is this thing called lamb. And it comes to no surprise to you, Stephen, I would imagine, that I had just had lamb for the first time a couple weeks ago. We've gone through time and time again on my non-broad palate or lack of trying really cool foods that I'm getting over from time to time. But I just had it for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I am in love. Should I have fallen so hard, or should I be a bit wary?
You should have fallen so hard. Lamb is a spectacular meat, loaded with flavor. And if you stop and think about it, on any given night, more people are probably grilling lamb than any other meat on the planet. The lamb zone begins in Western Africa. It goes across both sides of the Mediterranean, through the Middle East, the Near East, down into India, down into Southeast Asia, all the way over to Australia and New Zealand. So lamb is a hugely important meat. And by the way, I'd love to just give a shout out to Jameson Farm, which is the lamb purveyor for our lamb here on the show. And I think they make the finest, they grow the finest lamb in the world.
Wow.
And they are located near Latrobe, Pennsylvania. So Suki and John, if you're listening, your lamb just rocks. That's exclusively what we eat at home. And if you're looking for a real treat, try it. Jameson Farm.
All right, so obviously my breadth of experience is not large. I had lamb chops, I guess, so it looked like a prime rib, but obviously way smaller. What are your favorite cuts or kinds?
Man, I love everything. I love rack of lamb and lamb chops. I love lamb shoulder. We're going to be doing lamb shoulder later on in the show with with a Berber spice paste, actually, Moroccan-style lamb. Braised lamb shanks, which I actually do what I call smoke braising, where they're cooked in an open pan of liquid, but on a smoker, so you're getting both the moist heat and flavoring and then the smoke flavoring. That recipe is in Project Smoke. Shish kebab, lamb is the original meat for that. Lamb burger is a great alternative to a hamburger. You know, what don't I love about lamb? I love everything about lamb.
I was talking with Meathead last week, and he was probably as big, maybe if not as big a fan of you are of lamb. He said if you put a ribeye on one side and lamb on the other, he would probably die of hunger trying to decide if he should run left or right. But he was not so keen on this stuff called mutton, which I guess traditionally would be associated with Kentucky. Are you a mutton fan?
Well, let me say that I was pleasantly surprised by Owensboro barbecued mutton. Now, mutton is a very mature lamb. It's a mature sheep.
Yep.
And if it is slow cooked with a lot of hickory smoke, as they do in Owensboro, Kentucky, served with a black dip that's loaded with pepper and lemon juice and Worcestershire sauce, it becomes absolutely delicious. However, the kind of mutton that was stewed and served to English schoolboys, it's probably pretty tough to enjoy.
Is there a favorite way of cooking a rack of lamb for you? Is it just on the grill, the medium rare, and then cutting into chops?
For me, it's what I call my Greek island herb rub. It's a seasoning I make. It's basically a Mediterranean herb rub with oregano and basil and fresh mint. And I just put that on the rack of lamb. It's a direct grill. Leave it nice and pink in the center. And boy, doesn't get much better than that. By the way, I got a little trick for you. If you do grill rack of lamb or lamb chops, make an aluminum foil shield. Fold up a piece of aluminum foil in three, like a business letter. Slide it under the bones, because those bones are so slender they'll actually burn, catch fire when you're direct grilling your lamb. That's the tip for the evening.
All right, we'll take that tip and run with it for 11 more days. Stephen Raichlen will be down in Florida finishing up the second season of Project Fire. In the meantime, you can find him at barbecuebible.com. And on the third Tuesday of each month, you find him right here on the Barbecue Central Show. Stephen, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Great job, Greg.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
There
Bye.
he is, Stephen Raichlen, live on location. Not able to quit Skype. Weird. Let me mute. Just in case. That was really weird. Hey. John Dawson weighing in. Stephen Raichlen covered all but 2 continents. That means everybody that's listening that was playing that game is now 100% drunk. Congratulations, and you're welcome. Let me talk to you, as we're talking about books, about a great new book coming out here in a few short weeks. How great is it? Premiered on Amazon.com as the #1 new release in the barbecue and grilling section. It's called Grill Seeker, Basic Training for Everyday Grilling. Let me tell you a little bit about the author, Matt Eads. From the battlefields of Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Bosnia, to the state-of-the-art outdoor kitchen, Matt Eads is the person looking to unite people through grilling, no matter the race, gender, sexual orientation, cultural upbringing, socioeconomic standing, or political affiliation. Cooking over a live fire brings people together. It's just that easy. Differences get set aside. Work gets done. That's why you should be pre-ordering your copy of Grill Seeker, Basic Training for Everyday Grilling right now. The focus of Grill Seeker is to show readers that gourmet grilling doesn't have to be just a weekend activity. With Matt's tips and tricks, you can craft amazing meals and create amazing memories for family and friends every night of the week. The memories and the camaraderie that grilling has created for Matt, dating back to his teen years all the way through his time in the Marines, fuel the desire to spread the passion for outdoor cooking. That's also the reason why he started the hashtag United by Flame movement on social media. Great recipes in this book, let me tell you. And easy to execute, right? Because he's talking about grilling during the week. If you don't have all the time, or get out of the mindset that you have to have all weekend in order to do something cool, you don't have to. 5, 6, 7 times a week if you want to, and you will now be armed with all the recipes to kick ass and take names. Don't forget the the hashtag United by Flame movement. Here's what you do. Go to grillseeker.com, just like it's spelled and sounds. At the very top of the site, above his logo, click on the United by Flame link, and then check out the page. Don't forget, you can send a photo of yourself cooking in front of your pit or grill. Share that with Matt. He'll put it up on his page. Now you're a member of the United by Flame movement. Don't forget to stick the hashtag in front of that. Hashtag United by Flame movement. Get into it. April 9th is the release of that book, by the way. It's my friend Matt Eads. Stick around, I'll be right back with Grill Girl.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. This portion of the show brought to you by cookingpellets.com, your #1 source for quality wood pellets to fire all of your pellet-driven cookers. You can visit cookingpellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit amazon.com as well if you would like to purchase. And don't forget to download the free Cooking Pellets app at the website. Again, that's cookingpellets.com. All right, my other third Tuesday of the month guest is the creator of a website called grillgirl.com. You can follow her on Instagram at grillgirl. Of course, I'm talking about Robyn Lindars. Hey, Robyn.
Huh?
What's happening? I'm fine. How are you?
Greg, I feel a little guilty because I've been drinking champagne for the past 2 hours because Scott and I just bought 20 acres out in the country, and so now I'm a country girl now.
Oh, my, look, 20 acres. Holy crap. Do you, wait, now hold on a second. Do you have ice in your champagne?
Yes, because I'm such a redneck, so you guys just start judging yourselves right now.
Redneck, you got the camo on. I mean, that's ice in your champagne. Is it real champagne or is it sparkling wine?
Well, it's from Oregon. We went wine tasting
Yep.
for Scott's 40th a couple years ago in Oregon. And after that, we have joined every wine club ever since. So it's actually nice. It's nice sparkling wine.
Is it dry or sweet? Where does your palate come out on?
It's dry.
Mhm.
It's dry. It's not overly sweet. It's celebratory wine, and it's good. Things are good. I feel like celebrating. So
20 acres. Like, how does that come up? What are you going to do? Farm on it?
we are, we live in South Florida on the east side,
Yep.
closer to Miami, and we're going to move closer to Fort Myers. And there's a fully solar community that's being built, and there's a lot of hoopla going on around it. So we bought 20 acres nearby. So there's going to be a lot more amenities, and we're going to be the people that we are. And Scott can shoot a gun without bugging people, and I can, have like a lot of dogs, and maybe like a miniature donkey, and maybe a goat, and have some chickens and a little garden. So
What about an alpaca?
like Grill Girl meets Pioneer Woman kind of shit, you know?
Right.
It'll be fun.
Will you have an alpaca or two, maybe?
I mean, I'm not ruling it out. Never say never, right?
So
never say never.
You're going to have to move. Like, you're moving from this house to a new house.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
Scott's not going to have to work out of the laundry room anymore, and we might have a little more space. So,
Well, I hope so. At 20 acres, you could probably take one or two for yourself, build a house on it.
and maybe for my parents. I was thinking, Greg, this is what I was thinking is we're going to do like a little grilling festival, or kind of like back in the day when they used to do the thing with Kingsford University. Like, we get all of our friends together and we do like a little barbecue festival
Yeah.
with the cool people in the know, and we film some good content, and we have a blast. And even before the house is built, we just camp out there. We'll rent some RVs, and we'll just have a blast and connect and have fun.
All right, I'm down for that. I like where you're going with that. I see a little old school Kingsford University. Maybe in a we can, for old time's sake, we can like get a big tour bus and back up 5 miles in the middle of nowhere just for fun. That's totally inside. I think you and me and John Dawson are the only ones that understand that.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about talking about this to you today, about when we were on that tour bus, and Brad Orison was being so damn funny and just yelling random shit into the air. Just so funny. Yeah. Getting the gang back and making some fun stories together.
We're talking with Robyn Lindars, Grill Girl, grillgirl.com, her website, at Grill Girl Robyn on Instagram. So big news. We're going to be talking about, aside from the 20-acre purchase, you have is this your first cookbook coming out?
Well, technically it's my first book in print coming out. I have published an ebook before, but yes,
Yeah.
yay, so exciting. I am giving birth to a cookbook baby. I tell you what, like, I am excited. Like,
All right. Look at that. Hold on. Let me pop you up on the screen. Oh, there you go. Healthy Electric Smoker Cookbook. So how does this come to be? I'm always in the business dealings of stuff when I have an author on. So I'm wondering, is this a idea that Robyn had and started pitching it around? Did somebody contact you and said, hey, Robyn, we have a idea that somebody should be writing a electric smoker cookbook kind of a thing, and we think you're the gal to do it, and let's put a deal together? How does that whole thing come to be?
yes, and I want to take this time, so when people listen to your show, as not just the radio show that it is, but as a podcast too, cookbooks come about in so many different ways. And I've done an ebook before. I've talked to cookbook publishers. I've thought about self-publishing, which is definitely a viable option these days. But I also want to preface or follow that with saying that, on that following note, you have so many options in the publishing industry, and you don't have to wait for a cookbook to come to you. You can create your own destiny with so many options out there. Having said that, what I want to back up with is I'm just going to give you a side story for just a second, because I think this will make everyone just feel better about whatever path you're on in life. Like about 4 years ago, before I had Hunter, my CrossFit coach at the time, Shondell, love you, Shondell. I'm a CrossFit dropout, but I love Shondell. She was my CrossFit coach. And she went to this like Oprah seminar and she came back and was so inspired. And we were doing these potlucks and we do CrossFit and do a potluck. And I love food. So I was so excited. And then we got together and we did vision boards and we talked about it. And I created a vision board and I put it out into the universe. And I'm not trying to be all religious and everybody because I am a Christian and that's what I believe. But I will tell you that I am a very open-minded Christian. I curse more than anyone out there. And, you know, but I put on my vision board, I wanted to do a cookbook. And I will tell you what, that if you put things out in the universe, they will come to you. You have to ask God and you have to tell him or whoever you know, whatever's important to you, you just have to put it out there. And this publisher came to me and I always said, when I'm 40 on my cookbook, I mean, on my bucket list is to write a cookbook and maybe I'll do it when I get my sabbatical with my day job, which is another story because I'm plotting a lot of things behind the scenes right now. And things all just fell into place. And it wasn't that, you know, things were perfect, but I put it out in the universe and it's interesting how the universe listens to you and it will not always give you what you want, but what you need. Because I never thought I would write a book about electric smoking because I haven't done much of that. I've done smoking on a grill or a smoker, but I do feel that this is a medium to reach a lot of females as their entree into the world of smoking and grilling, because with the research I've done with some of the electric smoker people out there, the demographic is about 50-50, which compared to grilling is usually 70-30. So I think it's really a cool opportunity.
Do you feel not anchored, or I mean, do you feel responsible to some degree, not in a bad way by any stretch, but I mean, is it your passion to pull women into the, I mean, you're obviously in it, you're legit, you have a lot of followers, people in the industry, myself and a number of other folks, you know, it's not like, oh, there's just cute Robyn, but she's, you know, kind of bullshit. I mean, you're the real deal. Do you feel like, do you feel, I mean, you know, take it from me, who's an absolute loser, but that's how I feel.
You're not a loser. You're like one of my best buds. And I don't want you to say that because you know you're a badass. So don't even go there. Do
you feel like that you should be pulling in women to get them into this medium? Is that, I mean, it seems like in the beginning that maybe that was like the deal. And then that's always been a continuing thing for you.
I will tell you that I feel like it's a calling, but at the same time, I feel disappointed in myself that when I look at the demographics on my website, I realize that it's still 70% men, 30% women, but the women that are into it are awesome, you know? So it is what it is. I just wanted to be approachable for anyone. And I don't want people to think like that if you're a chick that's into grilling, you have to be that like big fat lady pit master that's like really unapproachable and like gnarly. Like you can just be like a normal person and like to cook and like to grill. And you know what I mean? Like, let's just break some stereotypes and just say that like, this is another style of grilling. And why do the guys have to have all the fun? Like, it doesn't have to have a label on it. But I also just feel like when more women, if they would experience how fun it is to grill, because usually what I've found is that the women are the ones that do all the prep work going into grilling for their husbands anyway. That like, then they get to go outside and drink beer and have fun on the grill. And like, why don't they get to have that experience? Because it's enjoyable and fun and rewarding, and it's part of being a good hostess and entertainer is to like school yourself on that aspect of the whole experience.
So let's talk about the book writing process. How did you find it? Was it easy? I mean, obviously you're well versed at coming up with recipes or going places for inspiration and then using that to go back and do something for the website. But how was the book?
The book was like, I mean, it's a division of Random House, which is DK, which truth be told, my experience with DK had been with Hunter for his Lego books because Hunter's super into Legos and so is Scott. And we're like the super dorky Lego house. So a lot of my books exposed with DK have been through that. But what I discovered with them is that they're their books are very almost like a manual or like a reference guide, which I really like, which makes them really easy to learn from. And also their pages are very coded, they're really great for learning from and taking notes from. And they approached me and I was like, holy shit, if this publisher is interested in me, I'm going to give it my go, even though I have no idea how they found me. I think I have some tags on my site for electric smoking. I have not done a ton of electric smoking, but to do this book, I turned myself into an electric smoking like expert, and they positioned it like electric smoking is like the outdoor equivalent of like crock pot cooking, which I was like, I had never thought about it that way, but I was thinking like, I'm going to develop really kick-ass recipes that can be approachable for all types of smoking. And what you'll see is that a lot of the recipes are like my tried and true grilling recipes that I've adapted for smoking, and the flavor profiles are like super spot on to be adaptable to different types of smokers and even grills or like pellet smoking. So these are like my tried and true recipes that I put into this book. So even if you don't own an electric smoker, I think it's adaptable if you like to smoke. And the idea is that behind the book, what I'm trying to do is teach people that you can layer flavors, right? Like when you think about smoke, just like Stephen Raichlen says, who's on your show, smoke is like that umami, right? It's like that other ingredient, and it's a layer of flavor that just adds to whatever you cook. So think of it as like a flavor laying machine in essence. And what I try to do in the book is infuse ways to sorry, my dog just came in the room, is infuse ways to layer on more layers of smoke, complementing what you're cooking without being overpowering, to really just create something that's super kick-ass. And so even I did that in like desserts with things like cold smoking the chocolate and making like a like I call it a campfire s'mores cheesecake, and like that, like smoking spices. So I think in the world of barbecue, if you can teach yourself, and it's not that hard, to smoke your own spices and take on flavor elements of different types of wood, you can really, just like some people might create their own signature like cologne or perfume, you can do that with smoke and spices and ingredients. And think of it as like, you know, what is this combination of flavors and smells and like umami experience that I am contributing to this dish? And so I'm totally dorking out here for a second, but you know, one thing I did have a hard time with was like, you're never going to be able to cook collard greens to total like softness. That's like a retarded sounding word, but you get the idea.
Robyn, you can't say that. Jeez, you can't say it. Come on.
It does sound retarded when you say it.
Oh, Robyn! You can't say that word. Come on. Use a better word than that. Sounds wrong. It sounds incorrect.
I'm wrong and incorrect.
Yes.
So it just is what it is. But you get the idea. So anyway, the idea is to teach you guys to develop those, like to create those ingredients that are so kick-ass that like if you're like going to a competition or hosting a dinner party, you're like, I smoked the spices that went into this rub and it's so fucking awesome that we're about to have a really kick-ass meal. And that's what it's about. It's just like enabling you to learn the tools to really like amp up the flavor profile, but uniquely create it your own, hopefully, right? Like giving you the skills to take it out and customize it and perfect it to what makes you happy.
And this book is coming out May 7th, correct?
Yes, and it's on pre-order. I still need to judge the landing page, but yes, I am giving birth to a cookbook baby, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Quickly, before I run out of time, you're doing another steak cook-off in, and believe it or not, this is, I guess this is the name of the city, Frostproof, Florida?
Yes.
Really?
You get these. Yes.
All right, so April 12th in Frostproof, Florida.
Well, just to clarify, Greg,
Yeah.
Frostproof is in the citrus area, and so they a lot of those areas have those names. because it's in prime citrus growing area. And if it's right near where my dad's cousin lives, where we evacuated for Hurricane Irma, and it is like totally just citrus. And lots of pretty lakes. So it's going to be a beautiful place to have a steak competition. And
it's you and Pops. Scott is going to be going. Are you guys competing as like a team of 3, or is it going to be 3 independent?
Actually, we're a team of 4 because Hunter is on the team.
And he's going to be doing the kids cook-off as well.
Yes, and he's so excited. And, you know, I got really inspired when I did the steak cook-off at the Shed, because Brad Orison had all his kids entering and some other kids, and it was so cool to see. And I was just like, oh my God, I have to get Hunter involved. And he's super excited. You know, he already has his own little mini Max green egg. I don't know what he's going to compete on. Maybe that, I don't know. But he's stoked. I mean, he's not even 4. You guys don't tell me. I don't think he's technically the legal age to compete, but he's almost there. And I mean, I don't even think it's not the same for him to compete against a 17-year-old, but he's going to get out there and like do his thing, and it'll be like really fun and cute to watch.
So this is the 12th, so you're going to be able to recap it next month. And obviously the mindset going into this one, much different than when you were going down to the Shed.
Well, yes and no, because we're all competing, and it's gonna be competitive on our side. It's not just about Hunter, like that's a side thing, but this one is a pre-qualifier for the World Food Championship.
Yeah. But I'm talking about, like, you were so anti-rub and all this other stuff, but we've learned that was a bad idea, and the mindset this time is going to be different than going down to the Shed.
Yeah, and you know what? Scott has such a hard-on for cooking the steak sous vide. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, he's like, we have to do it sous vide. You know it's the best way. And Dad's like, all right, whatever. But, you know, and Dad's like BFF with Johnny Joseph now, and they talk on Facebook all the time. So who the heck knows with that? Like, so we have all these competing interests. So we may be doing it via sous vide, which could be new and cool and different, and we'll share the experience with you guys.
All right. So. Well, we'll look for that the 3rd Tuesday of next month in April. In the meantime, it's the Grill Girl, Robyn Lindars, grillgirl.com, the website, at Grill Girl Robyn on Instagram. Follow her there. And then, of course, the new book, May 7th, it will be coming out, Healthy Electric Smoking. Robyn, thank you so much, as always.
And I do want to plug, Greg, that I have a lot of paleo and keto adapted recipes, and there's a whole backstory there I didn't even get into, but we'll talk about it next time. So,
all right, sounds good. There she is, Robyn Lindars, the Grill Girl, right there. How about that? Wow, I mean, that was absolutely intense. Did she say her husband had a? I don't know what she said. All right. We're going to wrap the first hour right after I talk to you about Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. They have great rubs, cattle prod, cash cow, sweet money, just to name a few. In fact, they have 13 perfectly balanced flavors that transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. They also have a great relationship with Steph Franklin over at Simply Marvelous Barbecue. They have the West Coast offense. They're great sauces if you want to try those. BigPapaSmokers.com, the place to go to buy. Also, aside from the premium selection of rubs and sauces, they have the very best charcoal, pellet, and wood cookers available today. If you're looking for a cooker that's easy to use, the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill is the one you want to try. Big Papa's the exclusive Mac dealer, even offers special packages. If you don't like that, you can try the Old Hickory Ace BP, the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his trailer. And then you have the M Grill for the backyard enthusiasts like me. Some people use them in steak competitions as well. They're built like tanks, they'll last forever. You can call 877-828-0727 with any questions, or visit the website at BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. We are racing towards the top of the hour, all caught up now. Thanks again to Robyn Lindars for Robyn Lindars, it's plural. There was more than one of her last night or tonight. We congratulate her and her husband Scott on the 20-acre purchase. They're moving, folks. And before the countryside estate is built, there could be shenanigans and tomfoolery on property grounds. Also, thanks to Stephen Raichlen in the first hour. Phil Luswick emailing, subject line, apology. Greg, I just wanted to write and apologize for my behavior when Meathead was on the show last week. There was beer involved. Did I miss something? Phil, what are you talking about? I didn't know anything was happening. You're fine. All right, we're going to break here quickly. We'll get into the second hour. A couple great interviews. And I will weigh in on the college scandal right after this. Stick around.
Hi, this is Jeff Richards, Columbus, Ohio. You're listening to Barbecue Central. Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish, what?
He ate sushi or wiener.
Now listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Live every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. If you're just coming in now, you've missed the first hour. Don't worry, we're recording this show at the same time, so you can get it on podcast. First hour is released tomorrow, and the second hour is released on Thursday. All very early in the morning. Friday, we have a brand new edition of the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less. This week, Meathead and Sam the Cooking Guy from 2014 show up. Meathead talks about ham, all things ham. Sam the Cooking Guy talks about one-armed chefs, electrocuted bears. He also gives Mother's Day gift suggestions. Again, you have to be subscribed to the Barbecue Central Show podcast, which you can do on any podcast platform at this point. And the show will be delivered to you each and every Friday. Again, the first hour of this show delivered Wednesday, the second hour delivered on Thursday. Also, don't forget, every Friday, mostly, I show up on WINT, the local Cleveland station here. Well, I guess technically it's Willoughby. You can find that 1330 AM or 101.5 FM simulcast. Anybody outside of the local Willoughby area or within 15 or 20 miles after that, WINTradio.com is the best way to do it. They have an online stream there as well. Now, I am out for the John Cupo show again this coming Friday. The remote test was unsuccessful last week. And to be honest, I'm not sure how we aren't able to get this done. It's not from my end or lack of want to try from both the host of the John Cupo show and the engineer at WINT. But for whatever reason, it just can't be figured out how to feed the show back to me so I can hear what they're saying. They can hear me. I can't hear them. So maybe someday they will figure out how we can connect. I've actually provided the bridge to connect as well, and it will sound really good, like studio quality good. But it's not going to be this week. Maybe, just maybe, we'll figure it out sooner than later. The following week, I will be back in studio, but this coming weekend is the Mid-East qualifier in Indianapolis. So we're going to be out starting Thursday. However,
a Barbecue Central Show exclusive news update.
Breaking news here in Cleveland, Ohio. I have secured a reservation for 7 at St. Elmo's Steakhouse on Friday. Come see me there. 9 p.m. because we play in the afternoon wave, unfortunately. But 9 p.m., I will be enjoying succulent St. Elmo's shrimp cocktail, which, of course, is world famous. People walk up on the street and look in the window at the dude making shrimp cocktail at St. Elmo. Not a lie. That's the truth. When Monday Night Football is in town, they put a camera on the shrimp cocktail window. I'm debating currently on whether I'm going to go 60-day dry-aged strip steak or 45-day-aged ribeye. Would love your instant feedback if you're in the YouTube chat. Should I get 60-day, 12-ounce New York strip or 45-day dry-aged ribeye, 16-ounce? You tell me. I have my mind 85% set up, but I'm really looking forward to getting me an order of Shrimp's cocktail, and I am going to go with tomato juice in lieu of navy bean soup. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you've never been to the institution. That is St. Elmo, and I'm looking forward to getting back there. All right, so the National College Admissions Scandal. I got Stephen Reichlen's take on it in the first hour, so if you missed that, go back and get it in podcast. This story broke after the show on Tuesday last week, so there's been a lot of info put out since the initial push, and I'm not really going to get into what all happened or what it's all about per se. If you aren't familiar, at a very, very, very high level, rich people are buying their kids' way into college and paying a shitload of money for it. In some cases, more than the school's tuition would be for a 4-year span at full retail, and no one pays full retail. The two faces, for whatever reason, of this scandal are one of the ladies from Desperate Housewives. I don't know which one. And Aunt Becky from Full House. You know, the hot chick. What's her name? Lori something. By the way, at whatever age she is, still super hot. Good for you, Aunt Becky. Way to go. So here's my take, and it has a few prongs. And look, I'm close to this because I have a senior in high school. We've been doing the whole college thing for the past 2 years almost. I'll be doing it again starting next year with the daughter that's a sophomore, and then I'll be doing it again a few years after that with my daughter that is currently in 7th grade. And the narrative is this. Parents these days don't make their kids work for anything. The kids, in turn, don't appreciate anything, and they expect everything. That's entitlement in its very essence. The other narrative is the rich live by a different set of rules and will buy whatever they want, including admission into colleges. Here's a question for the rich, whatever that means to you. And while I can't live in that reality where money isn't a true matter of concern month to month, where I could chip off some bag $250,000 to try and get my kid into college, are your kids the ones asking to go to Yale or Harvard or USC, or are you trying to go back to make sure that you can say that your kid goes to a certain school because that's what it looks like? The school my oldest is trying hard to get into right now, Division II school, full tuition, room and board, all the other expenses, all in, $49,000 a year. I'm no mathematician, but that's $200,000 over a 4-year span. And that's before any assistance. Are you telling me that paying more than that full amount is worth it? For what? I'm going to let you in on a little secret, and I'm not sure if everybody's going to agree with me here. Most kids should not be going to college right after high school. It's a bad next step that has been pushed down from generation to generation. And at the rate the colleges have increased tuition over the past 10 years or so, you're pissing your money away if you aren't ready to specialize immediately going into college. But how realistic is that? You're 18 years old. Do you know what the hell you wanted to be or do for the rest of your life when you were 18 years old? Some of you probably did. But I doubt it's the majority of us. Kids are going to school because they think that's where they're going to figure it all out. Wrong. That's an old-fashioned mindset. That thinking is broke. And it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Instead of going to college, go serve your country for 4 years. Find a passion while earning money for college when you eventually get there. There's not a time limit on when you have to start and finish college. Or if the military isn't your thing, go intern at various companies, see what you like, see what you don't like, see what real life is like. Because here's a news flash. College isn't real life either. Not everyone is made for college. Not everyone gets accepted to college. The time to learn that life is tough is right here and right now. And the parents who try to get their kids out of every jam or buy them everything, including their way into college, is not helping anyone. You're so concerned with being your kid's friend. Fuck that. Be their parent. Your job isn't to be their friend with your kids. If you're worried about being their pal, you suck as a parent. Sacrifice your friendship and do these things instead. Teach them a work ethic. Teach them the value of $1 and make them buy their own shit. Teach them accountability for their actions. Follow through on the punishments that you are threatening with. Teach them compassion. Teach them self-sacrifice. Teach them how to win with class. Teach them how to lose with the same class. Teach them how to control their emotions and not let their emotions control them. Teach them how to de-escalate dangerous situations with their words, but also teach them how to handle themselves when those words don't work to de-escalate that situation. Teach them now that life isn't fair, but hard work will always pay off no matter what. Do all that shit as a parent. Create a valuable and contributing member to society. When did the switch happen to parents wanting to be their kids' buddies? If I want a friend, I'll go to barbecue competitions or I'll sit outside my porch and hang with neighbor Desmond. Remember, it's okay to not do what everyone else is doing or thinks you should be doing. And rich people, stop buying your kids' way into colleges. It's ruining it for the kids who are busting their asses. That's not fair to them. Aunt Becky paid $250,000 a kid to get into USC. USC?
Get that big stuff out of here.
No offense to USC, but I got to imagine $250,000's buying me a better school to get into than USC. Is that even like a good school anymore? I'd buy my way into OU. That's what I'd do. 97 Bobcat. Guilty as charged. All right, Deon Bloomenrader coming up out of the break. It was mentioned by Robyn Lindars last hour, Green Mountain Grills. Actually, it was mentioned by Stephen Raichlen before Robyn. Has one on set. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. I own two, hoping feverishly to get my hands on a prime cooker as well. So they have the traditional line like I have. They're just announced and released the prime line. That's been out for a couple months now. Great new features, new chassis, much more solid, great pellet consumption and pellet efficiency. They've gone to the 12-volt power, gives you precise control over the fan. So you will notice quite an increase in pellet efficiency when it comes to the burn. Temperature control right on line with that as well. If you need something pretty big, Jim Bowie. That's the biggest one they make. That's the one you're going to look at. If you want something a little more medium-sized, Daniel Boone is there. Now, portable, but still good capacity, Davy Crockett. That's the one that actually born out. That's the one that actually started the 12-volt power revolution. And by the way, if you're looking hard enough, they're not the only ones that are starting to adopt this. They were the first ones, but they're now not the only ones adopting 12 volt, and we'll leave it at that. Don't forget that the Daniel Boone and the Jim Bowie, you can rip the guts out. You can put in that pizza oven insert, and now you have Pizza Party Rando. The indomitable Steve Brondano might show up at your house for pizzas. It's so fun on a Saturday. You get the pizza oven insert going. I run mine at about 350 on the cooker, so it's about 700 on the stone. And we're throwing pizzas in and out of there every 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes, depending on what we have going on. So fun. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. Check them out today. Dealers only. Got to go to the mom and pop, not online. GreenMountainGrills.com. Find yours today. Deon Bloomenrader coming up out of the break. Stick around. Be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Are you signed up for the Smokin' with Smithfield National Barbecue Championship? Registration is free. Sign up today. Hit the website, SmokinWithSmithfield.com, SMOKIN, SmokinWithSmithfield.com for all the details. Also, there's still a few spots left to be a part of this year's Smokin' with Smithfield Committed Cooks program, but do not delay. That is the same website you're going to use, SmokinWithSmithfield.com. All right, last quarter I introduced you to a gentleman by the name of Deon Bloomenrader. He's on a mission to bring his barbecue sauce, which he feels is truly unique to the market. He reached out to me a while back, told me about his quest, and I thought, hey, this would be a great barbecue documentary. Follow Deon from where he started and then track his progress throughout once per quarter. Well, the first quarter of 2019 is almost up, so that means it's time for a check-in and an update. So we race to the hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Deon Bloomenrader. Deon, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Greg. How are you?
I'm absolutely fabulous. Appreciate you joining me here as we go ahead and get the update. Now, before we get into some of the bullet points that we were talking about offline, for the folks that might be tuning in for the first time or didn't go all the way back, the last 3 months or so and consume all those podcasts, just a quick little background about your history of a live fire experience and then, of course, the genesis of the One Sauce.
Yeah, sure. I got into live fire cooking with a friend of mine. He got me to come up and do a rib contest with him and introduced me to that. And we created our own barbecue team called Big House Barbecue out of that. We do a lot of backyard stuff around here. We don't have a lot of time to do the KCBS stuff because it's so far away, but that's what got me into the live fire cooking and got me into barbecue, got me interested in that. And then from that, my son is on the football team, and this fall the family members always cook a meal for the kids on the Thursday before a Friday night game. And my son asked me if Big Hoss would cook some pork butts, so we did. And I was just sitting here, I send the bottle of barbecue sauce, whatever it was I had at the time, and I got to thinking, well, maybe the kids would like something a little different. And I tried to come up with like a mustard-based sauce to put on it. And so I was just sitting in my kitchen, and I don't know where it came from, just ideas. I just threw a bunch of shit in a bowl and mixed it up, tried it, and it turned out to be something really unique, and the kids really enjoyed it. Everybody that tried it really enjoyed it, and it's kind of caught momentum after that, and everyone that's had it is asking for more, and I've really made a lot of sauce for people around it. I'm not making a nickel on it yet, but I hope that will change someday.
Deon Bloomenrader joining me here on the show. All right, Deon, so when we were ending last quarter, you were getting ready to make a visit over to the co-packer. Of course, we talked about how you'd found them and what kind of a current relationship you were having with them. So how did the visit go, and what actually transpired there?
The visit went wonderfully. My oldest son and I went down to Golden, Colorado to Red Law Sauce is the name of the co-packer. It's a 9-hour drive for us from here. We headed down there with our recipe and our ingredients, and what they wanted us to do was to make that sauce right there in front of them so they could see the technique, see what goes in it, and if there's any special instructions that go with it, which there's not in mine, because mine doesn't involve cooking or chopping ingredients and stuff like that. That gets way more elaborate. So mine's a pretty easy sauce. They call it a dump and go is what they call it. So we made our sauce in front of them, and then they did some tests on it. They did what they would call a Bostwick test, which tests the viscosity or the consistency of it. I guess when I was telling you the bullet points for that, I guess I really don't know why they need to know that. I think it has something to do with the way when they pack it, they need to know what thickness or consistency it's going to be. I guess I'm not really sure. We ran the test though, and found out what the number was. They did a time on it, and then the biggest thing we found out was the pH. You got to have the acidity right on these sauces so that they can have a stable shelf life for an extended period of time, or however long it takes until someone actually buys it, cracks the seal, and then of course you go to refrigerate after opening after that. But we had to get the acidity of it right, and that took a little time. That took some work to get the acidity right and not ruin the flavor of it. We started with apple cider vinegar to try to get some more acidity in it. And the more we were adding, it was changing the flavor of it, and it was kind of bothering me. I was working with a different person. So then the owner of Red Law came in there, and he's really, really smart. And he come in and he said, well, let's use this ingredient instead. Forget the apple cider vinegar. So we used this other ingredient, and boom, we got the pH right where we wanted it. Took hardly anything, and it tastes exactly like it's supposed to. It didn't change the flavor of it all. So I was really happy with the way that turned out.
So when you show up at the co-packer and they're going to make you cook a batch of your sauce, are you doing, just a normal pot full, or are you doing, a couple 20, 30 gallons of sauce? Because, I would have to imagine at a smaller rate, or maybe they're just telling you weigh everything, so then, for the weights of stuff, then they're able to extrapolate that out for a true commercial run?
Exactly what we did. Yep. I went down there, and my original batch that I sit here and do at home, or that I've got the recipe written for, is for, I think it turns out to be 54 ounces. And they needed me to make 2 gallons of it. So the biggest thing we did was first off, you turn all the teaspoons and tablespoons and all that. Everything has to be done in weight. So you take all the liquid measurements and all the teaspoons and the cups and whatever, and you turn everything into weight. So we had to scale everything, and then we had to do a bunch of math, which is my Achilles heel. That's why I take my older son along with me. And we had to convert everything and then double it and get it to where we could make a gallon recipe that now we can translate that gallon recipe into 5 gallons, 20 gallons, 50 gallons, whatever. And I think our first run is going to be, I believe we're going to do a 50-gallon first run is what we're aiming to do.
Deon, from when we're talking about that pH, because that was really interesting, you were talking about adding more and more apple cider vinegar. What was the ingredient that the owner came in and said, oh, here, just do this, and it knocked everything out of the park?
Citric acid.
So
it's in a powder form. He come in and just sprinkled a little, it wasn't even hardly a teaspoon of it in there. I know it wasn't. It was a quarter of a teaspoon in there, and just boom, that changed it. That took care of all the pH that he was looking for, and it didn't change the flavor at all. And then, of course, after I've figured that out, there's so much of this stuff that after I've seen how that's done, I look on labels of all this other stuff, and I realize, oh, yeah, citric acid's in about, a ton of different stuff on the shelf. Well, it's because it's making it shelf stable until you buy it, and then you can kick it into the refrigerator and keep it fresh.
Were there any things that they were telling you after they see you make it, they see all of your ingredients, that they turn around and say, hey, instead of X, Y, and Z ingredients that you're currently using, in order to make it more cost effective, potentially more profitable for you per bottle, let's remove these ingredients and put in these in their place, and it'll give you roughly the same kind of taste? Because I would imagine that all has to be weighing into your decision making as well. Where do you go out of what your normal recipe is in order to maximize any kind of a profit?
That's exactly right. And they were telling me different options I had for a couple of my ingredients, and I adapted one of them that they talked about. But I have a certain ingredient in one sauce that makes it really unique, and I can't substitute it. I've been trying. I've been looking online. The people down there told me, well, we think this is basically what that is that you're putting in there. And I can't find a substitute, and it turns out it's a pretty expensive ingredient. But I can substitute the rest of them. There's not anything too outlandish or off the wall with my other ingredients. So I have been looking online. I have found a restaurant supplier where I can get that stuff at a fraction of the cost of what I'm paying around here when I go to the grocery store and grab it off the shelf. So I have got all that kind of figured out. I've got all that dialed in, and I'm trying to figure out what my cost per bottle is going to be. And the biggest thing that, oddly enough, the biggest snag that I've run into so far is the bottle. The actual bottle itself. I went through a company that they'd recommended, and my son and I even went there and visited them that day because they're in Golden, Colorado, and thought we had that all laid out, what we were going to do. And for whatever reason, I just have not gotten anywhere with those people on the bottle that I need. And so I've been on my own looking for a different bottle company, and I found one, found the bottle I like, found the cap I like. But now we're talking about quantities. Of course, the more you order, the cheaper it gets. And we're talking, what am I going to do with 2,200 bottles if this stuff doesn't sell? So, but that's where I get my best price, and I'm trying to get everything else as cheap as I can because, there's an ingredient in my sauce that's expensive, and I can't do anything about it.
Are these plastic bottles? Are you going glass bottle, and how do you decide which way to go?
Nope, I'm going plastic. They call it PET is the material that it's made out of, and it's going to be an hourglass shaped squeeze bottle with a flip top cap because one sauce is more than anything, it's a condiment. It's as I said before, I'm coming square for ranch. I'm planning to take Hidden Valley down.
I would imagine that you took more of an in-depth tour of the facility after you do your cooking, or maybe even before you do it, you get a full lay of the land, and wondering what your thoughts were on the facility itself.
I was very impressed. Everything's stainless steel, of course, and everything it's a factory. Everything is run on a conveyor belt, and there's stations for everything. All the people that I met there were really nice, and they didn't. They're busy making other stuff at the time. There's a herbal tea or something that they signed a deal with somebody to make, and they were in full run production of this tea. Everybody's busy as hell running around there, and they still all stop to shake my hand and talk to me and tell me what my sauce would be doing and where it would be made. And they were all really, really good to work with. I've had nothing but good to say about those people.
Deon Bloomenrader talking to me about one sauce. Of course, his team, Big Hoss Barbecue. And we're just kind of getting a quarterly update here as we're doing the barbecue documentary with Deon here as he gets the sauce to market. From a paperwork standpoint, Deon, are you and the co-packer under some type of an exclusive contract, or is it just like a run-by-run basis? Are they under some type of a secrecy to not share your recipe? Do they now own your recipe? I mean, how does that work?
No, I'm not under a contract exclusively for them for this. I'm sure at any point after my first initial run that I paid for, I can switch, but I see no reason to do that. But yeah, we right away in the beginning, we signed a non-disclosure agreement, which protects my recipe, that they won't share it or can't share it with anybody else. There is an awful lot of paperwork though that goes into this that, you know, obviously I've never done this, so I didn't realize there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and the paperwork that has to be sent into the government for the FDA label. And then we got to get a barcode. I got to buy a barcode and have that put on there. I'm working with the people down there in Golden that are working on the label, and they're just waiting for the bottle so they can see what parameters they've got to work with for the label. But we're working on a design. We've got a design, a couple of them picked out that we need to finalize. Then I'm trying to buy I bought a website. Haven't created the page or anything, but I bought the domain name. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and then when this gets into full swing, there is going to be a little bit of a snag for me, because when this gets into full swing, I'm going to be in the middle of having to go farming, and I can tell this is going to take a lot more time than I anticipated. So we're going to have to delegate duties to my son or my wife. She's 100% behind this, so hopefully she gets more involved, because it's going to get to be a lot of work here for a while.
Deon, let's talk some finance here. Obviously, you're not selling anything yet, so I would imagine gross profits are currently right around zero. But let's talk about expenses from when you started to where we're at today. Obviously, you said you're still waiting on bottles or you've picked them, but you know, you're in a little bit of a snag there. I would assume there's still other stuff to do yet before you're finally done with all the lead up here to getting the sauce to market. So what are you in from a dollar figure wise right now as we talk to you here in the second quarter interview?
Well, I was in, as I said in that first interview, I'm in about $1,500. That's the initial contract that you signed with Red Law. So I'm still in that. And of course, now I'm in a trip to Golden, Colorado, which was a motel room, and there was meals and stuff involved with that. So there's probably another $400 involved there. Now I'm buying those restaurant ingredients that I was telling you about, and I'm making my own sauces here to make sure I got my sauce perfected with their ingredients. So I'm out another, I think that was $230 for all those ingredients. I've got gallons and gallons of ingredients here. And then I'm looking at about, between the caps and the bottles, I'm looking at another, depending on the quantities I go with, I'm looking at another $500 to $600 for the bottles. And that's all I know right now. And the domain name, which cost me $125. I got 2 domain names locked up so I can use either one of them. So I'm into this for, you know, a little over $2,500, I suppose, right now.
Yeah, I'm adding it up there, and you're probably a couple hundred short of $3,000. So I mean, it's not like earth-shattering money, but I mean, it's $3,000 in the hole, and you know, you're not selling anything yet. But I would assume that this. Have you exceeded the amount out of pocket at this point, or did you figure that this was, you know, right around where you were budgeting?
That's just kind of what I figured. I had a little rough idea. I had a rough idea, and then from listening to other people on your show, Crawford's was one of them that talked about what it was going to take, and I kind of figured it was going to be a $5,000 deal when I get all said and done. Which, granted, that's a lot of money, and I understand that.
Sure.
But when you're a farmer and you're dealing with the goddamn numbers that I deal with, that really getting this business launched and going seems relatively cheap to me. And at least at the end of the rainbow, I can see that there is going to be a potential for profit. And I can't say that about farming right now.
Have you guys talked about price point on the barbecue sauce yet, or are we not there yet?
We're not quite there yet, but I know, talking to my friends and my wife and my family, everybody, we know where we think we need to be. We need to be. I was talking to my friend the other day about it. I said, if you know what it tastes like, you like it, you enjoy it. When you see it on a shelf and it's at $8 a bottle, what are you thinking? And he said, well, I'm thinking that's too much.
Yeah.
I said, so where do I need to be? And he says, well, if you can keep it at $6 a bottle right in that area, he said, I'd have no problem with it. He says, you get close to that $8, he said, that's going to turn a lot of people off. And I agree.
Deon Bloomenrader joining me here on the show. What are the next steps here before we let you go and look ahead to next quarter?
Okay, next step is actually, and I'm going to do it tomorrow, is order the bottles, order the caps, have them sent directly to Redlaw. And then they told me when they got those, they can finish the paperwork on and get the FDA label gone and sent. So that'll come back, and then I can call Amy, the designer, tell her what the shape or show her whatever. I can send her, I guess, an email. And she wants to know exactly what I settled on, and then she's going to finish up the design. And that's something else, Greg, I forgot to tell you. The design with her is going to be $650 when it's all said and done. I had to put a deposit down to get her going on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be $650 to design the label for it. So I forgot to add that in there.
Yeah, so now we're towards $3,500 right now.
We're going to get to that $5 real quick.
So, I mean, do we think we're going to be selling barbecue sauce by the next time we talk, or are we going to be just on the precipice?
I think we are going to be. I talked to Jake at Redlaw today, and he told me, he says if I get my end done as soon as I'm supposed to, then he expects we'll be having a run here by the end of, won't be this month, I guess, but the end of next month. We'll have it ready to sell.
Deon Bloomenrader, he is my barbecue documentary, tracking his progress from start to getting his sauce to market, currently in around $3,500. He's got some things to do tomorrow, and we will catch up with him in 3 months' time and see where one sauce is at that point. Deon, as always, I appreciate the honesty, the openness, the candor, and kind of letting us all in on your journey here from start to where you are right now. It's very intriguing. I know you're helping a lot of people who are having the same kind of an idea of getting into this business, and we're all learning here from you, so I certainly appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Greg, and I really appreciate you giving me the time to talk about it.
No doubt. There he is, Deon Bloomenrader. One sauce. Quickly coming, by the way. Hopefully by the end of next month, we will see the very first vestiges of one sauce. All right. We will go off the board next segment. Talk a little CBD oil. First, I will talk to you about Southside Market and Barbecue. Established in 1882, Southside is the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Famous for the original beef sausage, coarse ground and that natural pork casing. They also have authentic Central Texas barbecue to sell you as well. All the meats, including the prime briskets, are smoked low and slow for many hours over real Texas post oak wood. They ship nationwide via the online store, SouthsideMarket.com. They ship fresh and smoked sausages nationwide. Shipping customers can choose to order now, ship later, include a custom gift note, and mail to multiple addresses without additional charges. All shipped items vacuum sealed to ensure freshness and ease of preparation for the customer. They're also shipped on dry ice to ensure complete freshness upon arrival. All meats are processed in that on-site USDA-inspected facility, only one of a handful in the country. On-site meat markets for fresh and smoked products. Custom orders are welcome as well. 2 restaurants if you want to eat. Elgin, Texas since 1882. Bastrop, Texas since 2014. They have grocery distribution through Texas and many surrounding states. And if you're not in Texas or many surrounding states, you can get 10% off your online purchase if you use code BBQ Central. That's SouthsideMarket.com. Put everything in your basket that you want. Try the beef, try the cheddar jalapeno, pop into some ribs and a brisket. And then to save 10% off the entire order as you check out, use code BBQ Central. Lowercase, one word, BBQ Central. SouthsideMarket.com. That's SouthsideMarket.com. Thanks to Nick and the gang over Southside. And we are back with Justin Adair right after this. Stick around. I'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because Fireboard fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. All right, closing it out tonight, we go off the board, talk a little CBD oil, not grilling oil, CBD oil, although maybe there's a thing going on. I don't know. I have been a believer and user of CBD for the past number of months. We'll get into that during the conversation, but let's go ahead and race to the hotline and welcome in, first timer to the show, Justin Adair joins me. Justin, how are you, buddy? I am absolutely fabulous, Justin. Appreciate you making time this evening here. So before we get into CBD and getting into the nuts and bolts and all that stuff, maybe a little quick background about you business-wise, where you live, and maybe if you're into live fire cooking and grilling.
Yeah, actually, a bunch of my business partners, they actually have a barbecue podcast. So they've got the smoker pellet grill, the Traeger out back.
Yeah.
They cook basically every night. And so I just come over here and freeload and eat all their steaks and stuff. It's awesome. So I'm pretty lucky to be around that. But we are from Austin, Texas. And we opened up a vape shop called Cloud Counter Vapor about 5 years ago. And then the last 3 or 4 years, we've had tons of customers coming in asking for CBD. There's people with epilepsy, seizures. There's people with Tourette's. There's all kinds of people that are asking for CBD. And we decided, we didn't really know enough to get into that. But we went ahead and went down the rabbit hole of trying to research and find out if that's something we want to do, because I felt bad turning away so many people. So we went ahead and started researching it in October, and we just kept digging and started finding out more about CBD. And one of the issues that we ran across was, who do we trust when it comes to CBD? I didn't know really how to go about ordering CBD online. So we wanted to create an online marketplace for people so that they can kind of trust us to say, hey, they've already been through the research process. We've gone to the actual facilities. We've met with the companies. We traveled out to Colorado, and we're very picky about who we choose because it is, something that we want to stand behind. And we're seeing really huge benefits for CBD and what it can do for people. So we're really super excited.
Justin Adair joining me here on the show, one of the partners at Early Bird CBD, and the website is earlybirdcbd.com, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So let's kind of dig into it right off the bat here. Let's quickly hit on a few terms. First, that CBD, which is not straight up pot, correct?
No, that's the difference. Is what's great about it is it's CBD is a non-psychoactive component of cannabis. So you basically are getting the THC cannabis plant without the actual getting high. You're getting the health benefits without being stoned. So there's a lot of people that don't really want to get stoned when they're and also be able to get the health benefits of some of these things. So that's basically what that is.
So basically is there the THC in it, or does the CBD oil not have that, and that's what's keeping you from getting high per se?
Yeah, so CBD, they have you can get CBD with 0% THC. Oh, what's going on? Something happened here.
Oh, I can hear you. You're fine.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
You can get CBD without THC in it, but the legal limit is 0.3%. So as long as it's below that, then you'd be fine. But I mean, we're talking about it would have to do so much in order to just get a baby, a basic high.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really not going to have any kind of side effects from that when it comes to the psychoactive part.
So when you talk about the health benefits of marijuana, and you also have to take on the high with that, but CBD oil doesn't have to give you that high. Like, what are the health benefits that you would get with marijuana? I don't necessarily correlate healthy and smoking pot.
Yeah. So there's cannabinoid receptors in the endocannabinoid system that are inside your body, and basically CBD goes in and is able to help influence the body naturally to produce more of the naturally occurring endocannabinoids that you have, so that it just it helps your body do a better job. There's a lot of pain relieving properties. There's anti-inflammatory properties. So some of the things that I would say that can help you with is, for me, sleep. Sleep helps out a lot. It helps you kind of relax anxiety. There's some PTSD war vets that we have customers that take that, and that helps them get through the day. There's also topicals with pain creams and stuff that you can put on, and that just basically goes in and attaches to those endocannabinoid receptors and helps produce more of what it needs. I'm not that savvy when it comes to, I'm not a doctor, I don't know the terms and stuff, but it kind of helps you inflammation, anti-inflammation and stuff like that. So
Justin Adair joining me here on the show talking about CBD. So obviously the interest was because people were coming in asking for it. You didn't really know about it, so you were turning people away. So from a business perspective, you don't want to turn away potential clients, but you also want to be able to service what you are quickly finding out could be benefits to them from a health perspective. But you're also not making it yourself. You're going out and sourcing it through trusted CBD manufacturers. So talk to me a little bit about that process and who you're choosing and why.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like maybe one day, if we ever get to that point, and I feel like I understand this well enough, we'll go ahead and do something like that. But really, I wanted to leave it up to the experts. They've got really intelligent people. They basically grow it from the farm all the way to the consumer. So they've got extraction facilities that we went to go visit, which is way over my head, but I learned a lot. There was some really intense processes of how they do this, and how careful and exact they are when it comes to these expensive processes, which is why CBD is so expensive. But fortunately, we found companies that were able to get the best quality product at a very low price, because CBD, what I'm excited about is what it can do for people, to hopefully try to get them to, have another option besides going and getting opiates and hardcore prescription drugs. So it's really nice that there's another option out there that we're just exploring, and that we're trying to go down that path of finding out what can it do for us. And it seems like it could do a lot of different things. But I will say, it's not a miracle cure drug. It's not going to solve your issues or your problems. It just kind of, I had my neck go out. I just put some cream on my neck, and it actually kind of soothed it a little bit. So I was able to get throughout the day. But, it doesn't really fix anything. It just kind of helps you. It's almost like taking Tylenol or Advil. You're not going to notice the benefits besides the fact that your headache's gone, stuff like that.
I have been using CBD. It's a CBD oil. I take it sublingually. I forget the name of the manufacturer, but my wife did a whole bunch of research on it, and whatever she bought, she had deemed to be, one of the best out there at the time. And I take it in the morning, then I take it before I go to bed. Like you, I found that my sleep has become a lot more restful and a lot more sleepy, to have a really bad phrase to throw out there. But I feel a lot more rested when I wake up, and I, maybe go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock, but I'm up at 4:30 to get my workout in. Otherwise, I will not work out during the course of the day, because I'm that kind of guy. So 4:30 seems to make, I guess, if I can say this, seems to make the best sense for me during the course of the day. But I feel rested because I've been taking it. The other thing that I had found was that I had some knee pain when I had first started working out. And after taking this for like a week or so, knee pain went away. I didn't change anything else. I didn't start icing. I wasn't stretching any more or less. But I can directly correlate the CBD oil to that pain in my left knee going away. So those were some of the things that I'm finding out are working for me for the CBD. But you had mentioned you would rub some on your neck. I'm doing it on the tongue. What are the ways that people administer or deliver this to themselves?
So For stress and for fast acting type stuff, I really like to do vape. I like the CBD vape. That really helps out a lot when it comes to getting it fast. If I'm stressed out a little bit, which I'm not really a stressful kind of person, but every now and then, just kind of, it's almost like having a cup of coffee or something like that. I'll vape on my pen, or right before bed, go ahead and vape on that a little bit, and I'm able to go to sleep. You've got tinctures are really something that you should probably stick to and consistently do every day, at least once a day, maybe twice a day. I do twice. I do morning and afternoon, before I go to sleep. There's also topicals. So you've got your lotions and your rubs for rubs for the barbecue podcast. That's funny. But yeah, you've got your rubs for like any kind of topical pain. I've noticed it's helped out a lot of people where they don't really notice how well it worked until you ask them, how was it? How was your, how was the CBD? And they're like, you know what? Actually, I had a really good night's sleep. I'm not hurting, and then they go and talk to their doctors, and then they come back and they're, they're buying some CBD and they're, getting some good results. But everyone is different. So it's not going to be the same effect for every single person. So, they've also got gummies, so you can actually do edibles. They've got sleep time gummies, daytime gummies. They have dog treats, so pets. Pet treats are actually really cool. My pets, actually, one of my dogs, he gets a little freaked out, fireworks, car rides. I give him some pet treats, and he's doing great. He doesn't really freak out as much. He's also older, so I've noticed he gets a little bit more peps in his step. It's not going to change everything, but it helps him out a little bit. I had a cat not too long ago that was the vet told us that we only have 3 months for the cat to live. It's got cancer. It's not going to make it. It started getting seizures. And so basically I started giving it CBD. And within the first week of giving her CBD, no more seizures. I took her off the CBD. She got seizures again.
Wow.
So I gave it back to her and I never stopped. She lived for 3 years. They told me she had 3 months to live. So, I don't really know. I'm not an expert when it comes to a scientist. I didn't do studies on this, but it seemed like it really helped her with some of the benefits there.
Justin, could you end up making a positive for marijuana drug test if you're subjected to that at work, if you take CBD?
I've heard a lot of different things. I haven't actually tested it, but I always tell our customers, if you have a job like a trucker or you're working in an oil field, I wouldn't even try it. I think that it just depends on the job and what kind of drug test they have, but I wouldn't touch it when it comes to risking your livelihood. But they do have 0 THC. So as long as there's no THC, then you can actually do that. And that's not a problem. The thing with that is usually full spectrum is some of the best CBD because it has all of the good stuff in there that you need that can actually do really good for you without taking out. In order to take out the THC, you have to extract it, which sometimes means you're not going to really be able to get all of the terpenes and the other benefits there. So it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It just means that I prefer full spectrum. Also, my lifestyle, I don't really worry about a drug test, so I'm not worried about it.
Justin, last question before I let you go, and I appreciate the time tonight. As you're doing the research to figure out who you are going to be carrying on the website, which, by the way, is earlybirdcbd.com, how do you know the difference between crap CBD and great CBD?
Well, we've tried a bunch of CBD, and once you start to, one of the things is taste, the color. For me, I look at some of the color and then just doing the research. Also, making sure that you can go and find some of these companies that have lab results. Transparency is really big because this is the wild, wild west for CBD right now. It hasn't gotten to the point where you can trust all of the companies out there, but anything with lab results and making sure it's full spectrum. I do research just to make sure that none of the companies that we're interested in are showing up on some kind of list for not providing the actual amount of CBD that's in the actual, in the CBD itself. So, it's right now, it's kind of hard, it really is hard to figure out who the companies you can trust are, but that's why we call them. That's why we show up at their front doorstep and say hi and try to put them into some awkward situations to make sure we can see their whole setup.
You can go to the website earlybirdcbd.com and check out all the products. Do you have like one or two that are selling more than anybody else?
Yeah, everyone loves those nighttime gummies. I think a lot of people are super stressed and having a hard time turning off their brains and going to sleep. The nighttime gummies work really well. And then I personally like the New Leaf full spectrum CBD. They've come in all different bottle sizes. It's on the pricey side, but you get what you pay for. That's why it is so expensive. The extraction process is super technical and really hard for them to do. So, but you will notice the difference. And then the last thing would be the vape pen. I really enjoy some of those vape pens. The Stanley Brothers. Stanley Brothers is actually the sister company of Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web was one of the first companies to come out with CBD and help a girl with epileptic seizures, and it helped her out. And they were featured on 60 Minutes, and they did a really cool, setup there. So they've actually come out with their own vape pen, and it's full spectrum. You can tell, it tastes a certain way, and also has great side effects. So.
All right, this is Justin Adair. He's one of the partners at Early Bird CBD, and the website, again, is earlybirdcbd.com. If you're interested, go to the website, check it out. If people have questions, I assume there's some type of a contact page there where they can ask questions?
Yeah, I think we've got all kinds of stuff. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We got a page on the actual website where you can go ahead and just sign in your email and shoot us an email, and we'll go ahead and get back to you. We're pretty responsive. We usually get back to you within, a couple hours or no more than a day. So we'll be back on it.
All right, Justin, really appreciate the time tonight. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks a lot. Have a good one.
You got it. There he is, Justin Adair from Early Bird CBD. Off the board as we end the show, but as I mentioned, I've been taking it for a couple months now, and for me, it's sleep. It's just like the bee pollen supplement that I've been taking for the last 10 years or whatever. I mean, I know it works for me because I don't get sick. Everybody else in my house gets sick. I take bee pollen for the last 10 years. I haven't been sick. Not even a cold. CBD oil, the rest is better. The pains aren't there. I mean, I could not take it and see if they come back, but, I'd rather not. The website again, earlybirdcbd.com. Hopefully you enjoyed that off the board interview. And I think in the next couple years, everybody's going to be re-examining pot, weed, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, the stigma that has been attached to it, and what the alternative benefits of that is compared to big pharma, opioid addiction, and everything that we're hearing about now. Again, the website, earlybirdcbd.com, and we're back right after this to wrap the show. Stick around.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Justin Adair from Early Bird CBD, one of the partners there, earlybirdcbd.com, the website. Check out what they got. They have vetted out who they carry, so you can trust that they're going to be providing you with the top-notch CBD. If you've heard about it, if you always wanted to give it a try, check them out. All right, let's call it a day. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Stephen Raichlen. He's shooting 12 days in a row of Project Fire Season 2. They're in Florida, east of Gainesville. Hold on. West of Gainesville. There may or may not be boats sliding around that you might see. That'd be cool. We're going to talk a little bit of lamb there. I meant to talk a little lamb with Robyn, but we were celebrating her 20-acre purchase. Congratulations to her and Scott. Hunter as well. They're going to be taking part in the second SCA event of the year, April 12th, so we'll get some feedback from her when she's on again next month. Also, look for her new book coming out on April 7th, the Healthy Electric Smoker Cookbook book from Robyn. Second hour, Deon Bloomenrader bringing us up to speed on where he is with his barbecue sauce, One Sauce barbecue documentary. Got bottles, getting ready to ship those to the co-packer. Hopefully we'll have a bottle of One Sauce here in the next month or so. And he's roughly $3,600 in right now. No net sales, but that'll change. And then we close it out with Justin Adair from Early Bird CBD. Big show planned for you next week, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
This is Jimmy Burns from Malvern, Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue